So, it's been 11 days since the last time I talked about Arsenal, but we got to talk about the Man City game. It's been 12 hours since the game has been played on this Sunday, and Man City won, Arsenal 0. And I thought, let me take time before doing this video to really digest why the reason is that we lost this game. Because there has to be a fundamental reason why we lost this game. And the only reason that I've been able to come up with is due to the fact that we just wasn't good enough. Simple as that. This is a weird Arsenal performance, but somehow typical. It's a typical Arsenal performance against Man City because I felt that we played poorly. But what was weird about it is that in previous instances where we have gone up against Man City, statistically, they've always dominated us. They've dominated us in terms of shots on target. They've dominated in terms of adjusted shots, the general gameplay. Like, you would watch the game against Man City and determine, you know what, Man City have played better than us. And we did see that. But in terms of statistically dominating us, that just wasn't the case. And I felt that in this game, especially when you look at the stats, that Arsenal had a chance where we could have gotten something out of the game, or if we had usurped ourselves onto the game properly, this is a game that we potentially could have won. At the start of the season, when I'm looking at 5 games in, and we are now 5 games in, I thought this game would be a loss. It turned out to be a loss, and it just shows us where we all thought Arsenal would be, in that we're not going to be title challengers. We're not quite good enough. And as the season goes on, we'll really start to look at seeing where Arsenal are in terms of the grand scheme of things with all the other teams. But right now you could say that, and this is not factoring in Thomas Partey, who did have his debut, that Arsenal aren't quite there. But I thought in this video, let's talk about some of the good things that we did do right, some of the players that did impress. But let's look at some of the stats overall from this game, because I think that's kind of, first of all, key features in looking at why this game turned out to be how it is. So Man City had more possession, but they only had 58.5% possession, which normally, looking at previous Man City games, it's at least 65-70% of the time. You could say that's probably due because of Arsenal, or that could be because Man City might not be as good as they was in previous seasons. Like, take your pick. I mean, it's either one of the two, in my opinion. But I mean, Man City just wasn't able to do what they would normally do. And I think part of that is to do with several players who I thought that played very well today, that I'll get onto. Man City had 13 shots, Arsenal had 11. Man City had 5 shots on target, Arsenal had 3. And Man City normally have a lot more shots on target, and I'm talking 10, 15 shots on target against us. Like, in previous years, they've typically dominated us in the game, and today, statistically, not so much. They had 4 shots off target and 4 block shots as well against Arsenal's 5 shots off target and 3 blocked shots. So statistically very similar, very close, and you know what, the result kind of speaks for itself. But I think the reason why the game wasn't as worse as what you might have thought was because of several players. And the first player that I wanted to talk about was Bernd Leno. I thought Bernd Leno had a very, very good game today. Well, yesterday. I mentioned before that Man City had 5 shots on target. Bernd Leno had 4 saves. And for me, I believe that most of those were the shots that were on target. I think that Man City did try to score goals. I think that they did try to finish the game quite earlier on, and later on it looks like they did feel that the game was theirs. But if it wasn't for Bernd Leno, in my opinion, I think this game could have been a hell of a lot worse than what we have seen in the past. 3 saves inside the box, 57 touches. Pass accuracy was pretty good at 85%. Long ball accuracy was actually pretty good at 50%, 14 long ball attempts, 7 of them on target. Needs to improve on that. I think that's the one thing that Martinez's distribution in terms of long ball distribution was very, very good. I think when he was at Arsenal, he had somewhere close to a 70 to 80%, which was very good, and it's the reason why I think a lot of people prefer Martinez. But nevertheless, I think overall it was a good performance by Leno. Don't be fooled. If it wasn't for Leno, this game could have been a hell of a lot worse. And even though you could say that it was his fault for the first goal in terms of how the ball was parried, I still think that the midfield wasn't in the right positions to kind of prevent that. The way how the ball trajectory was, unless Leno completely gets it on the other side, but then Sterling's positioning, you know, Sterling could have gotten it on the far post, but I don't think that there was any way of stopping that. The only way would have been our midfielders and our defenders would have had to been in a better position. Particularly Taney would have had to been further back, but you know, he already tried with the initial challenge to stop Sterling to begin with. Xhaka would have had to been in and around the box to prevent Sterling from getting the easy chance. So for me, that comes down to poor positioning, and yeah, I don't think that there's anything you can kind of do about it. But he was very good in terms of preventing any type of further Man City onslaught. And as of right now, especially when looking at the table, we are 5th. We've played 5 games, and yes, this Sunday, there are many teams looking to play today, and that's probably going to be impacted. So my guess is that potentially we could fall to probably 9th at worst. So yeah, well, maybe about 8th at worst, and see what kind of happens from there. But I don't think there's anything that Arsenal could have really done about the goal overall. Next, I want to talk about David Luiz. I thought he had a really, really good game today. Wasn't initially supposed to start. Rob Holding was supposed to start, but he got injured in the warm-up. Unfortunately, I'm going to do some additional research to find out like what's going on there in terms of Rob Holding. I hope it's not a long-term injury. He's had a really good start to the season, and it would be a shame to actually not see Rob Holding get more game time kind of going forward. But I thought David Luiz had a very good game. He was, for me, one of 4 players, including Leno, who I thought had a very good game. I thought he had really good touches, clearances, 2 clearances, 1 block shot, 2 interceptions, 2 tackles throughout the game. Pass accuracy was really good at 88%, really trying to create chances from the back, and he did that on quite a few occasions as well. And you could see that kind of from the amount of long ball attempts that he attempted throughout the game. Wasn't that accurate at them all the time. I felt that Man City did very well in kind of snuffing out witty chances, but I think for me it was the attempts that were made throughout the game that I thought was really good. Ground duels defensively, I thought he was pretty solid. Didn't really make any noticeable mistakes, especially when he's playing in a back 4 that he isn't really that comfortable with. I thought he played really well in this game. So for me, one of the best of kind of a bad bunch today. And this evening I'll be talking a lot on the rest of the players who I thought weren't that great. But I thought he had a pretty decent performance in today's game. The next one that I have to shout out has to be, again, Gabriel. Gabriel, again, has shown consistently so far this season when he has played that he is a very good defender. I thought his clearances throughout the game were very good, and clearances, I mean, he had 3 clearances, 2 block shots and 1 interception. Again, like David Luiz's pass accuracy was really good. Lots of touches, 86 touches again, but that's probably just due to us playing out from the back. I thought that part was really good today. Again, didn't do quite enough for the kind of preventing the goal. But again, like I said with Bernd Leno, I don't think that was 100% his fault. I think that's to do with the collectiveness between the defense and the midfield not getting in the right positions, because I mean, for me, Sterling got himself in the right positions in that case. Sterling knew exactly what he was going to do, waiting for the rebound, and that's exactly what good attackers do all the time. In terms of Gabriel, he lost a lot of possession a lot of times, but I mean, that was the case of lots of players in yesterday's game. Just wasn't good enough. I think that's the part that really affected us in terms of possession, but you kind of have to expect that with Man City, with a lot of the high pressing game that they do play. So I expect that. But overall, I think it was a good defensive performance from Gabriel. I thought he played pretty well, and again, showing why he's a rock in our defense. The other player for me, I've got to say, is Saka. I thought he had a good, solid game today. Again, I give him little extra plaudits because he's 19 years old and because he's playing just as good as an experienced 24, 25-year-old. I mean, throughout the game, he had 60 touches and 83% pass accuracy, 3 crosses, 2 long balls. Wasn't always accurate in those a lot of the time, and his final balls needed to be improved. But I mean, that's just to do with, again, Man City's defensive rate, not really to do with him not performing that well. But I think his overall gameplay was pretty good. Attacking wise, probably could have needed a little bit more, but defensively, I thought he worked incredibly hard. Ground duels, he had 13 ground duels overall. 9 of them were successful, which I thought was absolutely amazing. And you can tell he was a nuisance. I mean, this guy was fouled 5 times throughout the game. You know, Man City knew he was a danger, and this is why he was always at loggerheads with, I think, Cancelo and Rodri quite a few times, with them looking to kind of prevent Saka from whipping that ball in from the left. But I thought he had a pretty decent performance today, and it's such a shame that we lost the game, because, or at least didn't get anything out of the game, because the players that I'm naming here in this video are probably the best of a real bad bunch. I thought Saka played well, David Luiz played well, and so did Leno, but I can't give them like 8s, 9s and 10s out of 10, because it just wasn't enough. I thought they were solid, but they weren't fantastic up the game. So for me, yeah, that's overall for me. I have to give for Saka. I think Saka, again, still improving, still young. This probably wasn't his best game, but I thought he put in a solid shift in compared to some of the other players that played today, and I think the majority of them, the rest of them, I think probably Dani Ceballos, he had a decent-ish game. I don't think he had a real impact on the game as he probably could have, but I don't think that was to do with him playing badly. That's more so to do with the way how Man City playing and him not really being allowed to really show himself onto the game overall. So he had a decent-ish game, but everybody else overall I thought was pretty much meh to poor, and I'll be talking about that this evening on the 101 Arsenal show, on my thoughts on the game and the ratings on that, so do check that out. But guys, thank you once again for watching this video. Please do continue to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all next time.